Hi everyone, this is the E-mini NASDAQ. I'm using a 1000 tick chart and a 21 EMA. So I've got my overnight high up here and my overnight low down here. These are our key levels for the day. And notice that we have this uptrend forming here. So it starts from the previous day. We're pushing on up here. These highs are fitting very well. And I started trading at 8 Central Time, which is this area right here. And notice that we push on lower here. We have this bounce up. This forms our overnight high. This is just before 8:30 there. And so we push on up here, and we're clearly forming a second big picture leg, especially after that attempt to fade, and then it just takes on off from there. Then it's very clear. But we can't really get in on this breakout, though, because when you break out of an overnight level, you want to see price make 2 attempts to fade before you buy the breakout. You don't just want to buy a breakout because you're getting these bullish bars pushing out. You want to wait for confirmation. And when price pushes out of an overnight level or a range level, you can expect price to attempt to fade back in. And so you want to wait for 2 attempts to fade. That way you can get in on the fade failure, which is to continue the breakout. And so anyway, and that's how second entries form. Two-legged moves appear all over the chart. It's because they're attempting to do things such as reaching a magnet, fading, and in this case, fading the overnight high. And so we push on out here, we get this sharp push down. And again, it's just one leg down, even though right here you tick above and you can say that's technically a second entry. That's too small picture for me. I don't scalp. I go for bigger targets. I just view this as one leg down here. And so no trade there for me. We push on up here and then notice that we have these first entry long, second entry long. But again, on a bigger picture, this is just one push down. We made a new high. And again, you want to see 2 attempts to fade. And so even though you have an attempt there and an attempt there, since you have that count reset, you need 2 attempts from here now. So nothing here, and we continue on higher, and now we're forming this wider channel here. Now, with these highs right here, when we reach up to them, at first we have a little reaction, but then we overshoot. Now, overshoots tend to lead to breaks. Overshoots, basically, it just means it's overbought. In the case of an uptrend, some people have an RSI down here, and they use the 3070 level, which I'm not judging that. If it works for you, it works for you. But really, an overshoot is how you know if something is overbought or oversold. In this case, overbought because it's an uptrend. And so notice after we get that overshoot, we immediately get a 2-legged move down. We've been pushing on up here with only 1-legged moves before making a reset. And then right after that overshoot, we finally get a 2-legged move down. Now, it's not a very clean entry. We were forming this channel here. The second leg broke out of it. We're not off of any support right here. And we had a sharp push below the EMA. It's really not ideal for a long, but it does end up working here. It makes a double bottom before taking off, but even on this double bottom, you don't just want to enter on that because look at what price has done. It's gone completely sideways at this point. Really just nothing clear there. And so anyway, we push on up here. We get this little retest of this range before going even more sideways. And then overall, we're forming this wider range pattern here. And so again, with this measured move in play, this acts as a magnet, and so you can expect price to attempt to reach it, but we're just not getting any clear longs. Notice from here we have a first entry long, second entry long. You can see those 2 legs down there, but again, it's completely sideways and choppy. It's really not worth entering on. And so anyway, continuing on here, we push on up. We don't quite reach that measured move, but it is still very clear that we have these 2 major legs up. And so even though the measured move hasn't been met, price could still just straight up reverse on down from here because sometimes it's not going to reach the measured move. Sometimes it'll be close and that'll be enough. But when you turn down here, you still can look for a long to reach that measured move if something sets up. And so notice here we have this attempt to reverse. It's a sharp push down. We get this break, a couple attempts at a new low. We hold on those lows right there and then we push above. I don't like it until it closes above the EMA because, again, on a bigger picture, this is 1 leg down. This whole thing is 1 leg down on a bigger picture. And like I said, when we have these smaller picture things on a bigger picture, it's just 1 leg. And so we can look for a reversal because yes, this downtrend has played out, but we can't expect it to just go on forever. We have to keep it within this range right here. The range, I had it like this, but after we had that spike up right there and then this push out, I figured we could probably extend the range there. But the point is, you don't want to take too big of a trade, especially because on a bigger picture, that's only 1 attempt to reverse. Now, I would not want to, and also with that, I would not want to enter into the EMA because of that as well, because on a bigger picture, one attempt, you don't want to enter right into that EMA. If we had gotten 2 clear big attempts down, then I would be okay with entering into the EMA, which we get into that there. But this does not look good enough to enter right into that EMA. I would want to get something closing above. And then as you can see, no fill. That's because price, after it triggered above this bar, never came back. Sorry if you can hear that construction in the background. We push on up here, and then we reach the high. We get a little breakout before fading back down. Now, we can look to get in on that second leg down because we have a clear sharp leg down. This basically acts as a break from this reversal down. And so if price pushes lower and gets a pullback, you can look for a short to make the second leg down. But it just doesn't happen here. You don't want to go short right here just because you're finding resistance there. It could very easily tick lower, make a second attempt higher, and stop you out. You want to get a clear entry on a pullback after fading back in right here. And so we just don't get that, but we push on lower here and we reach these lows, and then it holds again. So we have this right here, this right here, and this right here. This, on a big picture, is a triple test, 3 clear holds, bullish reaction. This bar right here closes back above the EMA. Now, I didn't mind this bar right here, given the 2 major attempts to reverse, and then it's still holding on this triple test. But we ended up getting this entry right here, barely closing above the EMA. And so anyway, it did not get filled at first. Notice how it missed it barely. It's funny, I entered 2 ticks above. If I had gotten in 1 tick, then it would have just been out right there, but 2 ticks above. So kind of annoying on given the ticks are so small in the NQ, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. Now here, this, like I said, I was still, this one was still active, so nothing here for me, but if you saw this and you got in, then that's great because it's a clear failed second entry. Notice we have first entry short, second entry short, failure, clear push above the EMA, clearly holding right here. It was just after 2 attempts to fade. Now, we have these 2 attempts to fade and then, or excuse me, I did not mean to say fade, 2 attempts to reverse. I mix up the terms all the time when making videos. So we have 2 attempts to reverse right here, and then price has a sharp push higher. So this is a reversal failure. And then considering on this point right here, when we form the failed second entry, we're still holding above the EMA, we're pushing back above. This looks great for a long. We have room and everything. So that's a really great looking trade there, but I was still in this one. I didn't add on. I was kind of just distracted with something else anyway, letting the trade go by, but so I didn't get this, but this looks great right here. If you got this, then you're really on the right track. This looks great. And so we push on up here, and then notice to the tick, as soon as we reach that measured move, we start getting this little reaction right off those bodies there. It does end up pushing on through, but this just does show these measured moves are very important levels. And so anyway, we push on up here, and that's basically where we are now. We could get like a, let me just push this out here. We could get a couple legs back, and then if we get 2 clear legs back, you can look for a long, but you don't want to enter right into that measured move level. Very easily we could just get a very strong reversal. But if this channel holds, then it holds. Then you can still look to go long. But again, you don't want to enter your target. You don't want to push your target through this thing. Like if you get an entry down here, you don't want to push it through it. But yeah, we could also get something like a big picture break. Because on a big picture, even though you have these 2 legs here, this is still 1 leg on a bigger picture. So we can get something like this, where you have a leg up, a couple major legs back, something possibly retesting that overnight high even. And a lot of times people, they don't quite understand the overnight high. Even though this overnight high and low is pretty thin for the day, a lot of times it'll stay within it throughout the whole day. But in this case, it broke on out and has way more movement outside of the overnight level. But it'll still oftentimes come back and have a perfect retest of it. So it's important to keep these levels in mind and to make sure you always draw them and don't ignore them. But yeah, so let me just remove this just to have the clear visual. We can have a push up like this, just as we have, and then make a big picture failed second entry. That could offer a great long down here. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I hope it helped out in some way, and thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.